If there is one legend that has been the most consistent power player since the launch of Apex Legends, it is going to be none other than Wraith. Welcome back everyone, my name is TimProVision, and today we're going to get you on your way to mastering Wraith in Apex Legends. The previous guide that launched last year was one of the best received videos on the channel, and while that guide is still relevant, quite a bit of time has passed, and Wraith has certainly been through a lot since then. Let's waste no time and hop right into it, but if you are new to the channel, check out my pinned comment down below for any and all adjustments to Wraith since launch of this video. This is where we will keep you informed on any changes to her and how she is currently performing in the meta of Apex Legends. I've been collecting clips of in-game examples for more than 6 months now and have a ton of examples to showcase, but for starters, Wraith is an interdimensional skirmisher with a passive ability, Voices from the Void, which will give you an audible cue when an enemy is aiming at you with a sniper rifle, traps are nearby, a lot of enemies are nearby, and even if a lot of enemies have died nearby, when this does go off, she has the ability to share this information with her team via a ping. Her passive is fairly simple compared to some of the other legends out there, and there's nothing wrong with this extra information, and it could actually come in pretty clutch to know when someone is aiming at you when you're trying to make that rotation, or if you're trying to go into a building with traps. Her tactical, however, is called Into the Void. Into the Void takes 1.25 seconds to activate, and she has a brief reduction of movement speed while this ability is being activated. Because the ability takes so long to activate, it is best if players do a slight crouch and strafe spam to avoid enemy fire, making themselves harder hit during the activation phase. A huge way to negate some of this slowness is by doing any sort of slide jump, whether it's sliding off of an object or just sliding on flat ground. Do a slide jump to keep your speed up and make yourself less of an easy target to hit. Once activated, Wraith will move at a 30% speed boost for 4 seconds and will take no damage while this ability is being used. When moving, enemies will see an area-like blue trail and are able to track or chase Wraith down during this ability. Wraith, however, can see the gray outline or shadow of enemies when she is in this ability, letting her better direct her movement or direction where she wants to use this ability. The ability used to be a get out of jail free card for players, but over time it has turned into more of a movement or rotation tool. Wraith can ride zip lines while she is using the ability, and a player that uses the tactical ability with some efficiency will be able to prolong engagements and be able to reset battles to have another chance at that fight. We will share more on this shortly, but let's now talk about her ultimate ability. Wraith's ultimate is the Dimensional Rift. This is a portal she can create to transport players from one point to another up to 75 meters away. During activation, she has an energy bar on top of the screen that gradually goes down the further the distance she travels. A good tip to know is that you can actually cancel this ability if you use less than 5% of the energy. This is great if a last minute change of tactic is needed, or if you are just trying to bait enemy teams to push you. Many teams will try to push players activating this portal, and a Wraith should have this technique or tool in the back of her pocket. While Wraith is placing the portal, she gets a 25% movement speed boost, and she can also use her tactical ability with no delay when the ultimate is active. This allows Wraith to move rapidly across zones with relative safety to provide rotations for her team to get an alternate angle of attack, or to provide a method of retreat for herself and the team. Similar to Into the Void, Wraith also provides a light blue trail when using the portal, and if both portal ends are inside of the ring, this will cause the portal to disappear shortly after being placed or being inside the ring. A great way to more strategically map out your portal placement is by pinging the 75-meter distance on the map. This does work well for sweaty endgame matches where you need to maximize that portal distance and you want to be sure where you are going is going to be reachable with that portal. The final thing to know is that Wraith and her portal will actually disappear after 1 minute, and you can also track this by the fact that it will disappear when your ultimate recharge is at 28% without a gold helmet and 35% if you do have a gold helmet on, since your abilities do recharge faster when you do have a gold helmet. Before we get into the examples, I just want to take a second and say if you are enjoying this video or if you just want to support me, hit that like button, and if you have any questions, stop by my Twitch stream where we do stream nearly daily and we can talk all things Apex Legends. I appreciate your support. So how can you use Wraith's kit to the fullest? Let's start talking about some specific examples of how to use Wraith's kit. Note that I am really just showing off ways to use her abilities here and not really breaking down full fights. First up, we have a few ways of how to use Wraith's tactical ability with some efficiency. Like we stated earlier, you can travel across zip lines while using the tactical ability. And in this specific scenario, we are in a 1v2 endgame scenario where we are actually the 2 players, but we have nowhere to go but across the zipline that the final player is camping. I hop onto the zipline and immediately activate my Q to avoid fire and to cause an extreme distraction. This confuses the enemy and my teammate is able to finish up this fight with ease. Ultimately, I don't really think he was ready for this type of push, and because Wraith had that Q, we were able to get the dub. Second to this, a great way to keep your speed up while using your tactical ability is to slide down hills or even launch on jump pads when activating. During this example, I am simply trying to reset the fight, and I slide way down the hill in King's Canyon while activating my Q for what feels like almost no momentum or movement reduction. Similar to this, we actually screw up a landing spot at Gauntlet and I have to actually run away, so I Q onto the launch pad and am able to use my Q with pretty much again no momentum reduction. While the tactical is great to get some speed, movement, and rotation ability, it's also a fine way just to use the ability while stationary. If a Bangalore or a Gibraltar ultimate is coming down on you when you are posted up behind cover, simply activate the tactical ability and stay stationary to maintain your position and also take no damage from these ultimate abilities. Similar to this, if you're in an endgame situation where the final circle is really small and for some reason there's a few teams left in a stalemate, you can pop the tactical and let the other teams fight it out while you have a few seconds of protection, much like we did here in this situation. The tactical, of course, is also a great way to just get away from fights and escape death, much like we did here in this fight. This was a prolonged 3v1 where I was able to take down the entire team through the reset capability of Wraith's tactical. The ability to get a knock and then reset with this ability is absolutely incredible. It's almost like having multiple lives. We also might have been dead if we didn't have the Q at the very end of the fight because the storm was cutting away at our already low health. Of course, sometimes being aggressive with the tactical is absolutely the way to go. I get a quick knock here on Olympus and I'm not really able to push up due to those rampart barriers with 2 enemies still left behind them. I, however, pop the ability and then I'm able to breach the gap by running up closer to the enemy. They never expect this and I again take down the entire squad solely because of the tactical's power to give me protection while moving up into their territory. Moving on from here, we have a handful of good ways to use Wraith's portal. The first one is one of my favorites, and this is to use the portal from height down to low ground. By using the portal this way, you're giving yourself a safe area to retreat to, and the enemy players really can't get back to you this way. Much like this central area outside of Rift on Olympus, this gives myself and the entire team a safe area to retreat to for healing or just getting other pick shots from height. And because this area is so high, there really aren't too many ways for the enemies to get to us without making themselves completely revealed. Of course, on the other side of things, we can use that portal for a more retreat or tactical re-maneuver. This is one of the more important portal techniques for you to have in your arsenal. In this endgame scenario, we are pinched in a building during late game. Rotating by walking through the ring isn't really an option as it will do massive damage. However, I am able to portal and then Wraith tactical out of the back of the building to get to a more advantageous position to make a play. Not only do I get the team out of this building with some safety, I also opened us up to have the possibility to not only attack from this rock, but also go back through the portal and still continue to attack from the building. Similar to this, we have the ability to portal and Q directly through enemy teams. In this endgame scenario, we are trapped inside the tunnel with nowhere to go except forward. If we move forward without any sort of ability, we are going to get lasered from the front if we do try to exit. The only option I see here is for me to pop my portal and then tactical Q through the enemy team. Not only does this get their attention in a big way, distracting them, it also opens up an avenue for me to do some damage from behind while the other 2 teammates make that push from the tunnel. I bought us just enough time and distraction here for my team to clean up the enemies. One quick tip to note about the portal is to be cautious of jumping towards the end of the placement and when you're activating it. If the portal is in the air, you will not be able to have down teammates crawl into the portal. This brings us to the simple technique of using the portal to escape out of really tough situations and allow your team to get the revives on friendly players. This will allow you to reset engagements and give both yourself and the team a second life. In this first scenario, I simply portal away to give myself some room from the enemies in the bunker before I start the revive. Second to this is portaling out both of my teammates to get quick revives them before the enemy catches on to what is happening. While the tactical ability is a great ability to use in a panic situation to get away from enemy players, you sometimes can pop both the portal and the tactical to zoom out of bad situations. This will give you a quick way to get back into the action if you do manage to escape from the enemies, or it will be enemies into portal chasing you where you can be on the other side of the portal waiting for them to exit. Keep in mind you do get that speed boost when you activate the portal, and the tactical gets instant activation when you are portaling. Both of these are really great ways to boost your momentum, and I often find enemy players don't want to chase you through the portal because it adds a lot of randomness when they are coming out of the portal, because they aren't really going to know where you're standing, and you of course will be waiting for them to exit the portal. It's a kind of obvious tip, but it is worth mentioning that you can hear the enemy players coming through the portal, and this does give you a quick half second to prepare yourself for them to exit. Another simple but effective technique is to portal that loot you are missing out on. Maybe you wiped the team but you had to back out of an area. You can portal not only onto death boxes in hard to reach spots, but you can also portal to care packages like this one that is in the bottom of a complete open valley on World's Edge, and another team that is on the hill across the valley. The final scenario for us to discuss before we get into a few other things such as ranking Wraith, legend pairings, and arenas is that you do not need to always finish the portal as soon as you start running with it on. Sometimes you can just bait enemy players chasing you by not finishing the portal. This adds confusion, and oftentimes it will give you a second to analyze the situation, or like I did here in this situation, I pop my portal from the side of a mountain on World's Edge for some cover. I am then just hiding in my activated portal, and the enemies aren't really sure where I am because it is hard to see me, and this is a decent way to confuse your enemies again, and you can even get some heals off while hiding in the portal, or do some unsuspecting damage to your opponents. The possibilities with Wraith's abilities are nearly endless, and it really does require players to think very creatively about Apex Legends, and not just Apex Legends, but the movement techniques in Apex and the overall playstyle to use her effectively. Let's now talk about a few of the legends that will work well with Wraith. The first is going to be the combo of Revenant and Wraith. A simple portal activation followed up by Revenant's ultimate is one of the most tried and true ways to get that nice spicy Revenant ultimate push. Just know it does take a brief second for you to enter the portal after you do activate Revenant's ultimate. Next is going to be the combo of Wattson with Wraith. This is fairly situational, but if a team wants some extra safety or portal cover, a Wattson can simply drop her fence directly through the portal, causing enemies to get damaged if they do portal chase or if they do go through your portal. Similar to this though would be the ability to drop some caustic traps around the portal, so if an enemy does exit the portal, they will get damaged by the gas and slowed down and have their vision blurred. Other than these, the only other slight usefulness I can see comes from Octane. A jump pad paired up with a Wraith portal and queuing could make for some very aggressive rotation and a quick portal placement. However, this might be a bit overkill for most situations, as Octane's pad for rotations is usually just enough alone. Otherwise though, every legend in the game will benefit from a Wraith portal, which gives her a lot of value when it does come to the team, and this is just one of the reasons as to why she is still one of the most picked legends out there. Season 9 saw the launch of arenas in Apex Legends, which brings us an entirely new way to really think about how our favorite legends can be used in Apex Legends. For the most part though, Wraith is a fine legend to use in arena. I will say there are much better choices for power play legends like Gibraltar, Lifeline, or Bloodhound, but Wraith still has some usefulness with her tactical. Unfortunately though, Wraith's passive is pretty much pointless in arena, and her portal might have some very unique situations, but really not too many where it will be useful. Overall, I think Wraith is a fine pick for arena if you are looking to focus on gunplay and you still want the ability to reset fights with her tactical. So why should you play Wraith? What does she bring to the table compared to all the other legends in the game? Overall, Wraith has a small hitbox compared to the other legends, and Wraith is just that legend that requires you to be really well aware of situations. A good Wraith knows when to take a fight and when to dip. Wraiths need to have a sixth sense when it comes to getting a team out of danger. If a team gets into a bad spot, a Wraith needs to be well aware of this, and they need to be able to back out of there with a portal as quick as possible to save the team. Wraith in a lot of ways is actually a type of scout legend where she can patrol areas because she has that portal and Q ability to get her out of those sticky situations. She has a lot of movement, and she does have a smaller hitbox, even though it was nerfed a few times. So where does Wraith stack up in terms of the meta? Well, just like she has always been, she is still a very solid pick. She may not be as cracked out as she once was, but she still has a ton of usefulness for both herself and the entire team. She is a consistent pick in pub games, ranked matches, and even the top tier competitive play in the pro scene. For me, Wraith is an A+ to S tier legend who dabbles in the top 3 to top 5 of best legends in the game. I will say she does have a huge nostalgia factor when it does come to a lot of us Season 0 and Season 1 veterans, but if she didn't perform as well as she does, she just wouldn't be getting picked up as nearly as much as she is. So what do you think of Wraith? Drop a comment down below. I hope this guide was helpful to get you on your way to mastering Wraith. If you have any questions about Wraith, Apex Legends, or are just looking for some people to play with, hop into our community Discord and we'd love to have you there. If you want any more content from me, check out all the links in the description down below for TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, and lots more. And until next time, I will see you live in the Twitch streams. Peace out, Legends.